So right here is what the trouser look like. You can see after the finishing, after the sewing, you guys can see. So here is the hem part. You can see how smooth that is. That's what we have. And right here, you see how smooth the hem is. So I'll be showing you guys the full construction of this tutorial. Very simple video. You guys are going to love it. So if you enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up so that it will help the YouTube algorithm to share it to more people. And if you yet to subscribe to the channel, make sure you hit on the subscribe button. So without further ado, let's get straight into the tutorial. So right here, the very first thing I'll be doing is this side is not straight enough, and I'll need to just make it straight. This way I'll be cutting the waist side. This way I'll be cutting out the waist side. So the measurement I'll be using, here is the measurement I'll be using. The waist is going to be 40. No, sorry, the waist is going to be 30. Let me make that a little bit clearer. Okay, so here, the waist is going to be 30. The length of the trouser is going to be 39. The lap is going to be 22. And the hem, which is the circumference, is going to be 15. So let's do that. So after we make our line like this, you can see, the next thing I'm going to take is, our waist is going to have an elastic, which is going to have a fold at this side. So after this line, I'm going to take in 2 inch. The fold itself is going to be at 1.5, and I'm going to fold in half of an inch inside. So don't forget that. So I'm going to have an 2 inch at this waist side. I'm going to mark my 2 inch here as well. You can see that. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to chalk it together. So here we have our 2 inch for our elastic and our rope. That's outside there. So the next thing we are going to do now is we are going to take all our measurements from this side. This is just an allowance for the elastic and for the rope. So here we are going to take our normal measurements. So I'm going to divide my waist, my waist is 30 inch. So I'm going to divide my 30 inch by 4. That's 30 divided by 4, which will give me a total of 7.5. So for the elastic and for the waist and hip, I'm going to add an extra 2 inches to that. That's the universal measurement. I'm going to add an extra 2 inch to that. That's 7.5 plus 2 inch, which will give me a total of 9.5 inch. So I'm going to measure my 9.5 inch here. So that will be for the waist. That will be for the waist. So to get the crotch measurement, I usually use my exact waist measurement if assuming I'm cutting a corporate trouser. But because I'm cutting a Sokoto, which is a free trouser here, I'll be using my exact same measurement, which is 9.5, and I'm going to add an extra 1 inch to that, which will make it a total of 10.5 for my crotch, so that the crotch side is going to be free. So after that, I'm going to measure exactly this 10.5. I'm going to measure it at this side. You see that? I'm going to measure it at this side. Let me zoom in closely so that you can see exactly what I'm doing. Okay, so here is my crotch length from here to here. Here is my waist length from here to here. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to measure exactly the same thing I measured here for my waist side, which is 9.5. I'm going to measure it here as well. Don't forget, I took the measurement from the hem of this fabric. I'm not using this hem, this particular side. So I took the measurement from here and also from here, which is my 9.5. So the next thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to glue this side together. I'm going to join them together. So here, don't forget, our lap is 22 inch, right? Our lap is 22 inch. And if you divide your 22 inch by 2, you're going to have your 11 inch. You're going to have 11 inch actually. You're going to have 11 inch. You can use that as your crotch measurement. But basically, the most universal measurement you should be using for your crotch allowance is 2.5 to 3 inch. 1.5, 2 inch, 2.5, 3 inch. That's the maximum you are going to use. So for this one, I'm going to use a total of 2 inch. Because the person wearing this is not that big, it's a slim person, so I'll be using a total of 2 inch. If the person is a fat person, you can go for an extra. You can just go for 3 inch if the person is huge or is fat. You can go for 3 inch. It is not a sin if like the cloth is too big. You can easily adjust it during the fitting time. Then the fitting. So I'm going to add an extra. God, the gen just went down, and that sounds very very nice. So I'm going to add an extra 2 inch to this side. So from here as well, I'm going to measure my here to here, 10.5, 10.5. So here I can easily join them together. You see that? And take my crotch measurements and take my crotch cuff. Okay, so here we have our crotch cuff. So if assuming we are making a corporate trouser, the difference there is that here we are going to make a cut here so that our waist is going to be adjusted. We are going to take out 1 inch and make it slant. Here we are going to slant it as well. Don't forget, but here is just a Sokoto. So the next thing we are going to do now is to take our length measurement, which is 39, and I'm going to add an extra 2 inch. So we are taking our measurement from this side, not this side again. Our length measurement is going to be taken from here, which is 39, and I'm going to add an extra 2 inch to the M allowance. So that will be 41 inch. That will be a total of 41. From here, don't forget, this is just an allowance. So from here, we're going to take our 41. I'm going to mark 41 here. On this side as well. I'm going to mark my 41 here. So let me move the camera so that you guys can see. Right here. You can see I already marked my 41 here. So the next thing I'm going to do is, because I want the side of this leg to be very shaped, I don't want it to be moving to the side of the trouser. So I'm going to take out 1 inch from this side. I'm going to take out 1 inch. You can see that. And after that 1 inch, I'm going to measure my leg, which is 15. I'm going to cut out exactly the 15 inch measurement, which will be 15 divided by 2 is 7.5. I'm going to mark that. So the next thing we are going to do now is our knee measurement. Mostly, let me zoom backward a little bit. Okay, mostly from here to this side. Our knee is always between an adult. The knee is always between 20, 22 to 23. So here, from this side, you're going to measure your knee. You can take a measurement for it, but for me, I usually know the measurement is always between 20, 21, 22, 23 to 24. So here, I'm just going to use a total of 22 inch for the knee measurement. You can see that. Your knee is always around 20, 21, 22 to 24. That's the maximum. Even though I take 23 inch from here, I'm still going to have to shape it, so it will never have an issue. So you guys can see that. I just take my knee measurement from here. So from this side to my knee, you can see that. From this side to my knee, I'm going to cuff it. I'm going to join them together. You see that? Let me make sure that the chalk is obvious. Okay, so you see what we have? That's for our knee. From here, the knee is here. So the next thing I'm going to do now is I'm just going to make a straight line from here to this place. See what we have so far? That's for that side. That's from the leg, from the M side. I'm going to make a straight line to here. So the next thing you're going to do is just to curve this line, because our leg is not as straight as this. You're going to curve it. See that? I'm going to curve it. So that's what we have. So the next thing we're going to do now is just to, from this 1 inch that we took from here, we're going to join them together to this side here. See that? I'm going to join this together. I have my 2 inch here. We have our 2 inch, which is for our allowance, our M. You might not need to actually chalk that, but I just want to chalk it so that you guys will be able to know. You see that? And this side as well. So here we are going to join them together. You see that? So before we're going to cut out this, I will need to like show you guys what I did here as well. So just for a recap, you can see here is our waist. Here to this place is the allowance for the elastic. Don't forget the elastic. Here is a 2-inch allowance for the elastic. From here to here is our crotch measurement. That's our waist divided by 4 plus an extra 1 inch is for our crotch measurement. Our waist divided by 4 plus our extra 1 inch, because this is Sokoto. But if you're cutting a corporate and a fitted trouser, you just use your exact waist measurement here. And here is our crotch. Don't forget, I had an extra 2-inch here, and our crotch cuff is always between 2-inch to 3-inch, like 1.5 to 3-inch. So here I used 2-inch for our crotch, and here is our length. Here is our knee measurement. From the waist side to this knee is 22-inch, and that is the extra 2-inch for our M allowance. You can see that's our extra 2-inch for our M allowance. So the next thing I'm going to do now is just to cut this whole thing out. So let's cut it out. So here is our trouser. You can see that. Here is our trouser. Here is what we have so far. Our trouser. So the next thing we are going to do is we are going to cut the back side. So it's very simple. Let's cut the back side. So here to cut out the back, all we just have to do is just to place our front on it. So now, remember we cut our trouser from this side. So from this side, so our front has to just turn over. So the leg side that is there before, we have to come to this side. Now I'll be cutting it from this line. You can see. Make sure it gets closer to this place. We're saying that. See what we have. So just lay your front on the back just like that. See here? That's what it looks like. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to trim out this side. You can see that. I'm going to trim out this side as well. So after trimming that part out, the next thing I'm going to do is to move this front backward. I mostly add an extra 2-inch at this side, extra 2-inch here, and this side as well. This waist side, I'm going to add an extra 2-inch to that. You can see. I'm going to add an extra 2-inch here. So at this side as well, I'm going to add an extra 2-inch here. So here, I'm going to join these two together, these two lines. I'm going to make the curve here, the waist. So here we don't need to do any slants, it's as simple as that. You can see. So very simply, I'm going to just cut that part out. to cut the entire trouser out. Okay, so far this is what we have. We have our front and we have our back. As simple as A, B, and C. We have our front and we have our back. So the next thing we are going to do now is to cut the pocket. So we can use this for the pocket side. So our pocket is mostly 14 by 14 inch. So from here, we're going to measure 14 inch. That's 7 by 14. This is doubled already. Hope you can see what I'm doing. Okay. So here is doubled already. So I'm going to measure 7. I'm just going to trim that part down. So here, I'm going to measure 14. Let's go about 14. Okay, so here as well, we're going to measure 7. Okay, so this is enough for 7. Because you have to cut out two pockets, left and right. I'm going to measure my length, which is 14. Okay, so right here we have our 14. So now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure the front of the pockets, they're facing each other like this. After they're facing each other, I'm going to fold it together. Now I'm going to make a cuff at this side. See? So this is our pocket. See what we have so far. Let me zoom in closely so that you can see what I'm about to do next. So here we have our pocket. So the next thing I'm going to do now is from here, I'm going to make a notch at 8 inch. You can see this. I'm going to make a notch at 8 inch. I'm going to notch it right here. So you see what I did? I make a notch at 8 inch. You can see that. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to stitch it together. And we're going to stitch our trouser as well. So that's about it here. And I'll see you guys. Let's get straight into the sewing. So here we have our trouser, both the front and the back, and here we have our pocket. So the very first thing we're going to do will be on the pocket side. Be on this pocket side. So right here is the front of the fabric. So the front of the fabric is going to be outside, just like this. And we have to start our stitch from the dart in which we took before. Don't forget, remember we took a notch here. Sorry, I said that, a notch here. So from here, we're going to make a stitch. Make a round stitch. So after you make a notch just like that, after you make a stitch, you have to turn your pockets inward. Just turn it inward just like this. You can see that you're going to make a stitch here. So first, we usually build the pocket first. We're going to stitch it straight, using it closely. So you're going to stop your stitch at this place. You're going to stop your stitch here. See that? So this is what we have. So you're going to do the same thing I'm going to do the same thing on this other pocket as well. I'm going to do the same thing on this pocket as well before we fix it to the trouser. Okay, so the next thing we are going to do now after we stitch the pocket is we are going to add that pocket to the trouser. So I'm going to take one back. You can see we have our back and we have our front. This is the two front here. So I'm going to take, okay, so here is the front of the fabric. So I actually cut from the back of the fabric. So here is the front of the fabric, and I'm going to take another one that has to face just like this. So the two fronts has to face each other. Just like this. Okay, so see what I'm doing here? Right here is the front of the fabric, here is the front. So the two fronts has to face each other. So I'm going to start from the leg side. You can see here is the waist. So I'm going to start from this side. And I want you guys to pay closer attention to what I'm about to do here. I'm going to start the stitch. Okay, let's watch closely. So if I'm sewing for an adult, any adult from age 15 upward, let's say, age 15, 18 upward, here I'm going to leave an extra at this side. From this place, you can see, from the edge right here, I'm going to leave an extra 11.5 inch. You can see 11.5 inch to this place. So I'm going to, from here 11.5 inch, you can see that, to this place, and I'm going to lock my stitch. So I'm going to lock my stitch at 11.5 inch. I'm going to make a notch at this place. So so the next thing I'm going to do now is to attach the pocket to this side. So first and foremost, I'm going to lift this upper part, because we firstly attach our pockets to the back panel of the trouser. So here, this is how the pocket is supposed to look like. Are you getting? This is how the pocket is supposed to be in the front. So here is where we're going to stitch to the back. So watch this closely. You need to place this right like this in your trouser. You see what I did? Okay, let me do that again so that you can see. Just like this. You're seeing that? You see that? So right here, this pocket side that is open. Let me zoom in closely again. Okay. So this pocket side that is open, this is the pocket. We're going to make sure this side is turned like this. So this side has to be stitched to the fabric. From the notch side right here, okay, let's watch closely. From the notch side right here, okay, so we're going to stitch that up. So we have. So now the next thing you're going to do is you're going to hold this one as well. You're going to bring your front forward, and you're going to stitch this one too. You're going to stitch it together. See that? You're going to stitch it together on the upper side right here. Make sure it's aligned with the notch at this down part. You're going to stitch it together. can see. So when you open your trouser, you're going to have this. You're going to have this. It's almost ready. Just watch closely. This is your pocket looking like this. So don't forget, this pocket side has to, this pocket that's inside, let me zoom back up. Okay, this pocket that is inside has to go just like this. And this place has to overlap. You need to take your time. You can iron this part in order to make sure it lays very well. You can iron this side as well in order to make sure it lays very, very well. So let me do the ironing first. So I'm going to show you what we're going to do here in order to lock our stitch. As you can see, take your time to iron it and make sure it's balanced very well. So the next thing we're going to do now is very simple. Watch closely. We're going to take this upper part. Don't forget, this upper part is actually the front panel. This is the back. The back is bigger than the front. So don't mistake that. This is the front panel. This will be the one that will overlap the back. Don't forget that. That's very important. So here, we're just going to take this side. We are going to make your stitch from here. Just a straight stitch from this place. Make sure it is very straight, because this is the part that will be outside, so it has to be very, very straight. You see that? We're going to stitch it to this your notch right here. So after I stitch it to that your notch, so here this is what we're going to have. You can see this is what the side pocket is going to look like. You can see that. So the next thing we're going to do here is we're going to lock this side. Very simple. Just lock this end stitch right here. See that? We're going to lock this place. After you lock this place, you're going to. So after you lock this side, you're going to measure for your pocket hole. You're going to measure 7. For adults, I usually measure 7. So right here, you're going to make your stitch. You're going to lock that side. So after you lock that place, just at the last stitch, you're going to turn the upper side just like this. You're going to stitch it up. So far, this is what we have. So far, this is what we have. This is what our pocket look like. So this stitch right here. We have our pocket. You can see. And when I turn this side over, you can see what the pocket look like. See what we have here. We need to just leave the inside to the down part. And if we want to put our elastic, we're going to have our pocket stitch at the top. That will be the one to lock the upper part, and here we have everything working. So you are going to do exactly the same thing on the other side of the pocket, the second side of the pocket. So we are going to do our finishing. So let me show you guys. Let me do that. So you're going to do exactly the same thing on that other one, and we're going to start join the two trousers together, the two legs together. So after you're done with your pocket side, just like this, the next thing we're going to do is we are going to stitch the hem of the trousers. Are you getting? We're going to stitch the hem of the trouser just like this. We're going to measure your hem circumference, which I use 15 in the video. Don't forget. Which I use 15. We are using 14. But on this one, I'm going to change my mind a little bit. I'll be using 13. Sorry. That will be 6 and a half. Okay, so right here. But if your measurement, whatever your measurement is what you're going to put here. On this one, I'm using 13 actually. That's why 13 divided by 2, that will be 6 and a half. That's 6.5. So I'm going to stitch it straight up. On this side, you're going to measure your lap measurements at this side. Just measure your lap measurement before you actually join it together. So you're going to do exactly the same thing on the second leg as well. This side is the most important side of the video that you're watching right now. So pay attention. Now after you stitch the leg, you see that we have each of our leg separately. You see that? So the next thing you're going to do now is take note of the front side of the trouser. This is the front. And this one as well. Here is the front side of the trouser. You see that? Here. So the two fronts are going to face each other just like this. And we're going to make our stitch. Just turn them this way. It is very important that you pay attention to what I'm about to do now. Here, this side, watch what I'm about to do here. We're going to start a stitch just like this. And don't forget, we need our rope to pass through this one entrance from here. So we have to create an entrance at that side. Let me zoom in very close so that you can see what I'm about to do. Let me focus this. Okay, so here, from this side to this side, I'm going to measure 3 inch. From 2.5 inch, I'm going to put an extra gap between this place. So don't forget that, that's very important. So here, let me use a chalk to actually show you what I'm about to do. So from here, from this place to 2.5 inch, from this place to 2.5 inch, I'm going to sew that side. So here I'm going to leave an extra, like half inch, an inch, like half inch in between this place and this place before I started sewing here. So let me show you. So I'm going to stop my stitch here. You see that? I'm going to jump to this other side and start another stitch. So that will be the entrance for the rope. So I hope you get that. So after you pass that side, this place, it has to overlap each other just a little bit so that we are going to have something to turn in the trouser. So here, we're going to start our stitch. So you have to pay attention. Make sure you have an overlap. See what I'm doing? Okay. See what I'm doing? And this place as well, it has to overlap. See? See? So that is how it works. So the next thing we're going to do now, let me zoom backward a little bit. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do now is very simple. You see here is our waist. This is what our waist look like. So at this point, you have very, look at this place. Let me zoom in back again. Okay, I thought I had a focus in here. Okay. Okay, so you can see here is the extra gap in which we have previously. So if I cut this stitch, you can see that we have an entrance here. I'm going to cut this one as well. You can see that we have an entrance at this place. You can see that that's enough for us. So the next thing you're going to do is, after this entrance, you're going to make a notch here. Just a little bit of notch. Just like that. We are going to make a stitch. So from this place, so we're going to make, after that, make sure you pass the entrance in which you made before. So right here. Okay. So from here, I'm going to make another stitch. So you see what we just did? So when you look at the front side, you can see what we have. You see that? It's very, very simple. So after we did that, the next thing we are going to do now is to cover up this our stitches. So you just turn it over just like that. Let me come closer here a little bit, okay? So you're just going to use it as a turn over here. You can see what I'm doing. See that? Just dragging and turn it over. That's what I'm doing. Very simple. See that? So we're going to do this round. See that? I'm going to lock the stitches. This is what we have so far. Very simple, quite simple. Let me zoom backward a little bit. Okay. So here we have our trouser looking like this. We're still going to give it a thorough ironing to make sure it looks clean. So after we did that, the next thing we are going to do is just to lock our waist. So the thing we are going to do is to fold our 2-inch. Don't forget, we had an extra 2-inch at the top of this waist side. So at this side, you're going to fold in your 2-inch. Fold in your 2-inch. Just like this. That's our 2-inch. And you're going to fold your extra 1/2 inch here. Okay, you're going to fold in your extra 1/2 inch right there. See that? So we have 1.5 inch at the upper part. So you can easily stitch this part. So after your first stitch, so this pocket side has to be in the front. You know, we're stitching the front first, so the pocket has to be in the front, just like that. So you're going to keep folding in your 2-inch 2-inch and folding your half, just like that. So we are going to stitch on top of the pocket so that it's going to hold the pocket down. See that? Simple. So here, make sure you don't go beyond your stitches, your pocket stitch. So just like that. Okay, so you keep doing the same thing. Just simple as A, B, and C.
So you're just going to keep working your 2-inch right here on this back side. Make sure this back side is actually very accurate. Okay, so don't forget making your 2-inch. On this side, make sure your pocket is in the front side. So here, make sure your front pocket is in the front side. You can easily, automatically just do that. You lock in your... So here is what we have so far. Here is what we have so far. Here, you can decide to only use your elastic, or you can decide to use a rope, just the rope alone, or you can decide to use the two. So in this video, I'll be using the two, both the elastic and the rope side. So when you, let me zoom back for a little bit, okay? So right here, so we have... Oh, I just took the camera out, sorry for that. So this is what, so this is what our trouser looks like. Okay, so this is what our trouser looks like. You see how simple that is. See that? You see this? It's very, very simple. And it is very, very smooth. So we're going to add our elastic and we're going to add our rope as well. Simple as ABC, so let's get to that.
So right here, this is what the trouser look like. You see how smooth that is? I've not even ironed this. You can see I've not ironed this, and this is what the leg side look like. You can see. So I'm going to take my time to give it a thorough ironing. So the next thing we are going to do now is to put our elastic on the waist side. You see, we're going to put our elastic and our rope on the waist side. So how to cut the elastic? So to cut out the elastic, just place your elastic just on the trouser, just like this, and you're going to give it maybe like 1 inch extra to the front to ease the waist. I'm going to cut that out. So now, when you pull them together like this, you're going to have your elastic covering the entire waist. So now you have to pass your elastic in through this hole right here to the entire round waist of the trouser. So here, to pass the elastic, I'm just going to use this screwdriver. It can go straight inside of the trouser waist. You can see this. So just like that, I'm going to put it inside. Or if you have something else that you can use or you've been using, you can use that. Oh god damn it. Okay, I'm not sure if it's meant to go. Okay, you can see I'm just going to go through inside, okay, just like that. Make sure whatsoever you are passing, it actually goes straight. It doesn't bend in any ways. So just go like this. You can see. Make sure this side is actually very straight. Are you seeing what I'm doing? So go straight inside. You see, make sure this side is very straight. You're seeing what I'm doing? Okay, so keep going. You can see, so just pass it and make sure the elastic is not bent in any way. I keep saying that, that is very, very much important. So after, we're going to pass it out. So we have, you can see that. Make sure the elastic is not bent in any way. So this is what we have. So the next thing I'm going to do is to stitch it together on the machine so that it will actually go straight. You can see what I have. It has to be very straight. So you can see, after I stitch that part together, you can just stitch it rough. Just make sure it's actually firm. So easily I can pass my... So you're going to pass in the elastic inside. So right here, we don't have our elastic at the top again. See what we have? So the next thing we are going to do is to do the stitches on the waist side before we pass our rope. So let's go back to the sewing machine and do that. It's as simple, you see. This is what our waist look like. You can see that. So let's go back to the sewing machine and do the lock. This part is very much important that you guys pay attention to. So here I'm going to start my stitch from here, but note I'll be stitching just at the tip, not actually the tip, like a quarter of an inch before this O. I'll be stitching maybe like a quarter of an inch so that there will still be space to pass through for the rope. So here, make sure the elastic is at the tip of the trouser. So from here, make your first stitch. You can see that. So gather all these gathers, move them to the front. Move the gathers just like that. Continue the stitch. You can see that. You can see what we are having in the front. Very simple. The next thing you're going to do is here as well. Move those gathers to the front. See that? Very simple. Here as well, do exactly the same thing. So getting to the front, see what we have? Stitch. So here is what the waist look like now. You can see that. Here is what the waist look like. Now we are going to pass our rope through the waist once again in order to hold it tight. So here I'm just going to cut a 1.5 inch rope. You can see that, like a 1.5 inch rope, and I'm going to make a stitch. Just fold it together like this. Your rope. Just like this. So we are going to do that throughout. See? Okay, so right here, after we finish stitching the rope, you can see just one stitch actually, just to hold it down. You can see that. So the next thing we're going to do now is to pass the rope through the side as again. Just have to like pass it. Let's find a way to pass it round. So after you pass the rope, just push it outside. Push it outside very well. You can see what we have so far. So here, so what you just have to do is just to cut out the head of this, making knots on each of the edge. Simple as that. And this one as well. So you can easily use a lighter to just burn the edges of the side. So that's what we have. So the next thing you're going to do is very simple. Just hem the leg, give it a thorough ironing and folding your leg. So that's about it on this trouser. It's as simple as A, B, and C. So I'll see you guys to my next video. Enjoy yourself. Give it a thorough ironing. Okay, you're going to have to like weave the inside as well. Weave the inside. So that's about it. And that is all. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, like the video. So right here is what the trouser look like. You can see after the finishing, after the sewing, you guys can see. So here is the hem part. You can see how smooth that is. That's what we have. And right here, you see how smooth the end is. So I'll be showing you guys the full construction of this tutorial. Very simple video. You guys are going to love it. So if you enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up so that it will help the YouTube algorithm to share it to more people. And if you yet to subscribe to the channel, make sure you hit on the subscribe button. So without further ado,